So what really makes someone influential? We all think we know the answer, right? But it turns out the real science of influence tells a totally different story. The most powerful person in the room or on the entire internet is often hiding in plain sight.
I mean, this is the big question in our digital world, isn't it? We're so trained to look at follower accounts and assume that's the whole game. More followers equals more power. But is that really the whole story? Well, the answer is a lot more complicated and honestly, way more interesting.
Okay, so you look at this. At first glance, this map of Twitter conversations just looks like a tangled mess, a total hairball of data. But believe it or not, hidden inside all this chaos is a very clear pattern of power. And the key player? It's not who you'd expect. So, how on earth do we find them?
To solve that mystery, we've got to turn to this amazing field called social network analysis. It's a really powerful way to look at any group, whether it's people, websites, companies, you name it, and map out their relationships to understand the hidden dynamics at play. So how does this whole SNA thing work? Well, the basic idea is surprisingly simple. You model individuals as nodes, those are the dots you see, and their relationships are the links, the lines connecting them. Once you have that map, you can start to analyze it and see who really holds the power.
And this is where it gets really cool. See, importance isn't just one thing. Social network analysis gives us a few different ways to measure it, because being influential can mean totally different things in different situations. So let's break down the 4 most common ways.
To make this super clear, we're going to use this simple 5-node network. It looks pretty basic, I know, but it's the perfect little training ground to see how different definitions of influence can tell completely different stories about who matters most. First up, we've got degree centrality. This is the one we're all most familiar with, even if we don't know the name. It's just a raw popularity contest. It counts who has the most direct connections. In our little network here, nodes A, B, and C all have 2 connections. So, by this measure, they're equally important. But are they really? Next, let's look at betweenness centrality. This measures which nodes are acting as bridges. Now, look at node A. To get from E to D, you have to pass through A. There's no other way. That means A controls the flow of information. It's the ultimate gatekeeper. This reveals a totally different hidden kind of power.
Then there's closeness centrality. This one asks a different question. Who can get a message to everyone else in the network the fastest, in the fewest steps? And again, node A is our winner. It is perfectly positioned to be the most efficient broadcaster. If you want a message to spread like wildfire, you give it to A.
Okay, now for the most sophisticated one. And this one's a real game changer. Eigenvector centrality. It doesn't just count how many people you know, it measures how important the people you know are. The big idea here is that one connection to a very important person can be worth way more than 10 connections to people with no influence. It's not just who you know, it's who they know.
All right, so we have our new toolkit: degree, betweenness, closeness, and eigenvector centrality. Let's go back to that messy Twitter map about #PizzaHut from the beginning and see if we can use these tools to find the real influencer. And boom, here it is. On the left, you've got the original mess, but on the right, it's the same exact network, but we resized the dots based on their eigenvector centrality. And all of a sudden, the picture becomes crystal clear. One node, at Blackpink, just dramatically stands out. It might not have the most direct connections, but its connections are to other powerful accounts, and that gives it incredible influence. And the data just backs this up completely. I mean, look at this. If you only look at who has the most connections, degree centrality, the winner is at Tua Hayuyi K. But when you apply eigenvector centrality, the K-pop group Blackpink jumps all the way to number 1. That single change in how we measure importance completely rewrites the story of who's on top. You know, the original research paper that analyzed this data summed it up perfectly. It's not just about the quantity of your connections, it's all about the quality. This is the core idea. It explains exactly why an account like @Blackpink, which is plugged into this huge network of other high-profile accounts, can have so much more influence than an account that just gets a lot of random retweets. So yeah, this is super powerful for understanding social media, but make no mistake, this kind of analysis is used everywhere. The very same principles that help us find a Twitter influencer can reveal the hidden power structures inside any organization.
For example, take the workplace. One study of an R&D organization found something fascinating. When they mapped how knowledge actually flowed, they saw that middle managers often had the highest centrality. They were the critical bridges connecting different teams. Meanwhile, the director,
The person at the very top of the org chart was actually less central to the real flow of information. SNA shows you how work actually gets done, not just how the org chart says it should.
And if you want to talk about real-world impact, it doesn't get any bigger than this. Google's original revolutionary PageRank algorithm, it's a direct descendant of eigenvector centrality. It didn't just rank pages by how many sites link to them, but by the quality of those linking sites. That one idea didn't just revolutionize search, it built one of the most powerful companies in history.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway? We've basically given you a new lens, a new way to see the networks that are all around you every single day, and a new way to understand how influence really, truly works.
So let's just recap it one more time, nice and simple. Degree is just raw popularity. Betweenness is about being that crucial bridge or gatekeeper. Closeness is about being the most efficient broadcaster, and eigenvector, well, that's all about having influential friends. 4 totally different ways to define power.
And this really leads to the ultimate point. The key isn't to just ask who is influential. The real question is, what kind of influence actually matters for what I'm trying to do? If you want to spread a message fast, you look for closeness. If you need to connect 2 separate groups, you find the person with high betweenness. The right answer always depends on the question you're asking.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. In your own networks, at your job, in your friend group, in your online communities, who are the obvious leaders? And now, using this new framework, who are the hidden ones? Who are the real connectors, the real bridges, the real influencers? I bet the answer might just surprise you.